25/8 is in the business of time. We help leaders of small and medium-sized businesses work smarter, not harder, so they feel like they have an extra hour in the day and day in the week. Go from don't know what I don't know to I can't miss this show, as we talk proven strategies, practical tips and insider insights from a diverse range of industry leaders. Make time to grow your capabilities and confidence with 25/8. Pricing is one of the most emotional decisions in business and one of the most consequential. For many small business owners, and especially those that are in the serving or caring profession, or those that are really concerned with their impact or purpose, like allied health or therapy, education, well-being, or those that impact the community, pricing can feel like a tug of war between charging what's fair and helping people who need the support the most. And in rising costs and inconsistent demand and the very real fear of losing clients, it's no wonder that pricing becomes a chronic stress point. But unfortunately, if your pricing doesn't support your business viability, your impact will have an expiry date. Welcome to this episode of Make Time, where I'll talk about the challenge of pricing and what you can do to get it right. I'm your host, Sam, and I'm passionate about helping you and your business thrive by working smarter, not harder. And thank you for joining me for this episode. Pricing is difficult because it sits at the intersection of value, what our customers perceive, costs, what it takes to deliver, psychology, what you believe you're allowed to charge, cash flow timing, when money arrives versus when bills are due, and ethics, especially in service-based human-centered work. And unlike many business decisions, pricing has leverage. McKinsey's research found that even a small change in price can have an outsized impact on profit. In their analysis, a 1% improvement in price could translate to roughly 8% improvement in operating profit, assuming volume stays steady. That doesn't mean raise prices no matter what. It means pricing isn't a detail. It is a strategic lever. Many businesses don't close because they lack passion or talent. They close because the numbers don't work or for them to sustain a viable business. Australian research commissioned by CommBank and reported by the University of New South Wales highlighted that nearly 80% of Australian small businesses experience cash flow impacts in the prior 12 months, with declining revenue and low cash reserves among the common drivers. Pricing and cash flow are tightly linked. Underpricing creates a pattern that looks like plenty of activity but not enough margin, busy weeks followed by anxious gaps, no buffer for sickness, for leave, or slow periods, avoiding hiring or investing or improving your systems, and chronic stress that makes strategy almost impossible. If you're in a caring or human-centered profession, underpricing also risks something else, compassion fatigue that is made worse by financial pressure. I deal with a lot of purpose-driven individuals, and I often hear them struggle with the belief that if they charge more, they will feel less ethical. I also struggled with that too. I spoke to a business coach, and the first thing they said was raise your prices. And for me, I was like, well, that's not right. That's not what it should all be about. There must be a better way. And so I agree that it isn't about blindly increasing prices because that's what you're supposed to do. But ethics in human-centered work isn't only about affordability. It's also about quality of service, presence, time, attention, continuity of care, staying in business so you can make more impact. Sustainability, your health, your energy, your limits. The same goes for your team. For those in service professions, one way to cater for customers with different budgets is by using sliding scales or reduce fee allocations. And when these are designed well, they can increase access without sacrificing viability. There's also credible pushback that sliding scales can backfire if implemented without boundaries, for example, undermining service quality or creating hidden strain. The point isn't that sliding scales are good or sliding scales are bad. The point is access models need design, not feeling guilty, well designed thought strategy around providing access, being there and staying viable. A practical, ethical approach often looks like a clear standard fee, your sustainable rate, a limited number of reduced fee places, defined capacity, not an open-ended promise, or alternative ways to create access. This might look like group programs or group access, do workshops with one-to-many. There could be digital options. There might be scholarships. There might be partner-funded places or a small pro bono allocation. But for me and for 25/8, it was all about optimized systems and using technology to ensure that we could remain accessible, but also could scale. And this is how you stay human-centered and financially viable. And often when we initially set the pricing, we do so in isolation. However, not going alone is important for confident decision making, knowing that you can bounce this off, knowing that it's okay to talk about pricing, it's okay to look at this. Having the peer and support environments outside of your accountant improve your resilience and your decision quality and your persistence. In practice, I see this all the time. Business improves when you're not making those decisions in isolation, when you have structured reflection, benchmarks, feedback, and confidence building conversations. For now, I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step practical approach that we teach and coach around pricing to help reduce any emotion and increase clarity for you and your business moving forward. You might like to get a pen and paper to write this down, although we do have a guide that you can download around pricing. And the first thing that you need to do is to establish your viability floor, your minimum sustainable price. This isn't your market price. It's almost like your survival number. Your floor price should cover the direct cost to deliver, overheads. So that might be any software, any technology costs, your rent, insurances, marketing, admin costs, your wage, including leave, very importantly, putting your oxygen mask on first. We advocate for the profit first model if you want to look further into that. Make sure you're putting aside your tax and GST obligations and a profit margin. So your profit is a buffer plus reinvestment plus resilience. So think about what that looks like. If you don't know this number, pricing will always feel like guesswork. So that's the first thing that we need to do, establish our floor price, a viability floor. What's that minimum price? Then the second thing to consider is to move away from this idea of cost plus, so that minimal price plus as a default, and towards value-based thinking. A willingness to pay is shaped by perceived outcomes, not your hours. So, for example, effort-based might be that you spend 6 hours on something. So you put in the 6 hours in there, and then you add in a buffer. A value-based pricing makes you start to think about what the impact is to your customer. This saves the client 30 hours, it reduces risk, it increases revenue, improves well-being, or creates a tangible outcome. And so then with that value-based mindset, you can start to consider the true value of the product or service that you deliver, rather than just the cost plus, the effort plus. The other thing that you can consider is building tiers so that you can be both accessible and sustainable. This is one of the cleanest ethical tools in pricing because it creates choice. A common tier logic might be an entry level, which is a lower cost, lower touch, It might be digital or short consults. That's your entry level. Your core, your primary offer is your standard service. And you might then have a premium service as well, or a premium product, which is higher touch, faster outcomes, closer support, and bespoke. This lets you serve different budgets without discounting your core value into the ground. So if it is that the market's changing, you need to consider how you adapt so that you don't truly lose your value. Because we want to treat discounting as a strategy and not as a reflex. It can be valid, but only when you know why you're doing it. Healthy reasons to discount include reducing friction for a new product launch, or prepay incentives to improve cash flow at certain times of the year, or capacity-based offers to fill empty spots, or partner-funded access, events, or employee support. Unhealthy reasons for discounting might be a discomfort with money, fear of rejection, or trying to be nice at your own expense. I often see discounting happen to close a deal. Often what works better there is the value add. What can you add in that is going to be of more value for the customer to close that deal? You need to test pricing, though. This is the main thing. No one has the perfect answer for you and for your market, as much as anyone might be able to say that. What you need to do is work out what works for your customers, for your markets. And we do these in small experiments. We create feedback loops where we learn what works from our customers, and we get feedback from customers as much as possible. What we could try here is a price increase for new clients only, looking after our existing clients. We might package something, so it might be the same total value, but a clearer offer. Might put in some minimum engagement terms like 6 weeks or 3 sessions. We might reduce custom work so we can productize what repeats, whether we sell products or services. And then what we want to measure is the conversion rates on those, or the outcomes. We want to make sure that we're still getting the outcomes that we want. We want to also make sure that our energy and capacity aren't depleted, and that margin and cash flow are stable. The other thing that I think is really important is that we get customer sentiment. And for larger businesses, you might start monitoring social media to see what people are saying. But the best form of feedback is to actually speak to your customers and ask them what they think and get that feedback. Talk to them honestly and authentically. I think for small businesses, this is one of our greatest tools, is that we're real humans and our customers are too. So have conversations with them, put yourself out there and ask the question, get their feedback. Because people will appreciate and understand what it is that they need to do. And again, if you don't put in pricing that enables you to have a viable business, you don't have a business. And so the customers won't be able to work with you, won't be able to get goods and services from you. Underlying, though, one of the things with pricing is it isn't always a pricing problem. It's often a mix of different things. And so going through a diagnostic like the ones that we offer at 25/8 help you really start to pinpoint what it is that you could focus on to make sure your business is more viable, is going to thrive into the future. Here we might pinpoint that your positioning is really unclear, your positioning in the market, your value proposition. It might be that your offer structure isn't clear or right. It might be that you have an inconsistent lead flow, or the customer journey isn't converting. It might be to do with delivery inefficiency. There might be confidence gaps in your value communication, or customer segments might be mismatched. This is where a diagnostic is incredibly helpful, because it helps you pinpoint what is actually driving the pricing tension. A good business stage or growth diagnostic like the ones at 25/8 can highlight whether your business model supports your goal, where margin is leaking, what capability needs to be built next, whether that's your sales, your positioning, systems, finance, digital, whether you're trying to price a bespoke service while operating without the systems to deliver it sustainably. Pricing becomes easier when you're not guessing what to fix. Money isn't evil. It's an exchange of value. It's an energy exchange. And in human-centered work, fair pricing is not greed. It's what allows you to keep showing up, keep improving your craft, keep supporting clients with presence and depth, and keep serving over the long term. Underpricing doesn't just harm you, it quietly limits the people that you can help. This isn't about charging ridiculous pricing, it's about being fair. If you'd like further guidance on pricing, download our practical guide to pricing for small and medium business, or take a 25/8 diagnostic to get tailored advice. Links in the show notes. See you next week. Thanks for listening to Make Time, a business podcast by 25/8. If you like the show, please take a moment to write a review and feedback on what you'd like to hear next. If you never want to miss an episode, hit subscribe or follow on your favourite listening channel. If you want to get even smarter, join our newsletter, community, or take one of our programs. Links down below. See you next time.